Well, good morning, scholars. Welcome to another edition of the Daily Briefing. Well, one issue that we're following closely is the potential government shutdown that is looming this Friday. And there's been no movement on this front. Remember, the issue is that the Republicans want stricter security checks of the Syrian refugees, and the Democrats are saying that one, the security checks are sufficient as is, and two, even if they're not, the place to have that debate is not over whether or not to fund the budget, but there's been no movement on this, and Congress may need to pass a stopgap measure to keep the government running for just a few days to avoid partial shutdown when the funding is set to expire. And that's a quote from GOP leader Kevin McCarthy. So I think what we can anticipate seeing is on Wednesday or Thursday, probably Thursday, an extension of a week to hammer out the issue. But maybe they'll reach a tentative deal. I don't think the Republicans really want to shut the government down over this issue, and the Democrats don't want to be seen as being too easy on the Syrian refugee issue in light of the San Bernardino attacks. But we're so focused on the issues regarding refugees coming into the country, we're missing a very significant point. What about extremists entering Syria? Well, more than a year of international efforts to stem the flow of foreign fighters into Syria and Iraq have absolutely failed. With the number of militants taking up arms for the Islamic State and other extremist groups more than doubling in the last year. Um, the Wall Street Journal reports that last year between 27,000 and 31,000 people from at least 86 different countries have traveled to the Middle East to join the extremist movement. Seriously, if we can't even figure out how to keep extremists out of Syria, can we figure out which refugees are potential terrorists coming into this country? Something to think about and realize our FBI security checks failed in regard to this lady or uh, who was cleared with her visa, even though the FBI had an awareness that she and her terrorist husband were engaging in target practice even before the attack. So, in light of these complex issues, which are not easy, yesterday Donald Trump flat out called for a ban on Muslim entry into the United States. While this evoked outrage from across the political spectrum, on Trump says it's obvious to anybody that the hatred among Muslims is beyond comprehension. He said where this hatred comes from and why, we will have to determine until we are able to understand this problem and the dangerous threats that it poses. He says our country cannot be the victims of horrendous attacks by people that believe only in jihad and have no sense of reason or respect for human life. The Obama administration responded to this um, approach by saying it goes against American values and principles. So these are extreme positions that should be thoroughly debated, and you need to make decisions on how you feel about these two perspectives. So, with that being said, today the Supreme Court is hearing arguments in Harris versus Arizona Independent Redistricting Commission. We're studying public opinion, and we learned about the census and apportionment yesterday. So I point out this case. The issue is whether the desire to gain partisan advantage for one political party justifies intentionally creating overpopulated legislative districts that result in tens of thousands of individual voters being denied equal protection because their individual votes are devalued, which would violate the one person, one vote principle. So the Supreme Court's going to hear arguments on that. And really the issue here is this redistricting or gerrymandering? The word I just used is gerrymandering. So in a day or two, we're going to talk about that in class. But why don't you go ahead and start researching that term and getting a sense of what it means? So, gerrymandering or redistricting. And one final point I want to make: oil prices fell to their lowest point in 7 years yesterday. So while gas is still going to be cheap for a little while, and I've even been filling my tank up with premium, I'm trying to see if I can tell a difference, but I don't know. Still working through this tank of gas. Car's driving smooth, but does the premium really matter when you're driving a Honda? I don't know. We'll figure that out soon. But oil industry stocks are simply taking a beating. So they're low, which means I think probably a good time to buy oil stocks. Just a theory. Anyway, I'll see you in class today. I didn't pack lunch. I'm concerned about maybe I have to eat at the cafeteria. So maybe somebody can hook me up with the spicy. And anyway, good luck today, and I will see you scholars soon. Go Falcons.